community along the Japanese highway.
Tell me more about the platform.
This platform, called Focal Online TV Daily Edition of Inside the Print Media, does not encourage any form of dialogue between the viewers and the presenters.
Oh, you mean nobody calling there?
No, you can't call on a show. Let me talking out like when we're no calling there. So all you can do is you will listen to the news, and they can also encourage you to buy the newspaper to listen to the news in details.
But do you do viewer recognition at times?
Oh yes, we do viewer recognition.
A pleasant good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're watching us from. Welcome to Focal Online TV. Welcome to the daily edition of Inside the Print Media with your presenter. My name is Rekfina Korchpa. So today we have varieties of newspapers in studio. We have the Daily Observer newspaper, we have the Front Page Africa newspaper, we have New Dawn newspaper, and lastly, we have the Hot Pepper newspaper. For today, we're going to be looking at top stories from Daily Observer newspaper. One of the top stories headline reads, Waka Kun under scrutiny over recent trips. Waka Kun's under scrutiny over recent trips. And we have here, corrupt officials will pay the price. Corrupt officials will pay the price. Mana stealing a special scent in Broadway, Roseville. Mana stealing a special scent in Broadway, Roseville. This is how we proceed to the New Dawn newspaper for another headline from our newspaper here in studio. Waka marks first month in office. Waka marks first month in office. This is another interesting top story here. House demands clarity on Bwaka's travel. House demands clarity on Bwaka's travel. House demands clarity on Bwaka's travel. What is in the paper this morning from Front Page Africa newspaper? Beyond HPX US $5 billion investments. Controversial brew as President Bwaka reportedly prepares. Controversial brews as President Bwaka controversially reported and prepares to replace NAFA Director General despite being signatory to Act giving her tenure. This is another interesting story here in the print this morning from Front Page Africa newspaper. Controversial brews as President Bwaka reportedly prepares to replace NAFA Director General despite being signatory to Act giving her tenure. Despite being signatory to Act giving her tenure. Examine HPX $5 billion Liberty Rail Corridor economic promise or potential pitfall. This is another interesting top story here from the Front Page Africa newspaper. Lastly, what is in the print this morning for Hot Pepper newspaper? What is in the print this morning for Hot Pepper newspaper? President Bwaka commissioned cabinet members heads of agencies. President Joseph Human Bwaka commissions cabinet members heads of agency. This is interesting as well. So folks, we take a short break. When we get back, I fill you in directly on the news in details relating to our country, Liberia, beginning from the Daily Observer newspaper, concluding with the Hot Pepper newspaper. Kindly stay with me as I'll be bringing you this informative information that is good for your hearing and good for the growth of our country, Liberia, and the world at large. My name is Rekfina Korchpa, and this is the daily edition of Inside the Print Media here on Focal Online TV. Please stay with me as I'll be right back shortly.
Hello dear, my name is K. Lyndon Toba. I'm in search of a platform where I can get credible information of our daily happenings in Liberia and the world at large.
Hello, K. Lyndon Toba. My name is Rekfina Korchpa. Haven't you heard about Focal Online TV?
You say Focal Online TV?
Focal Online TV is located within a Tobo Village community along the Japanese Highway.
Tell me more about the platform.
This platform, called Focal Online TV Daily Edition of Inside the Print Media, does not encourage any form of dialogue between the viewers and the presenters.
Oh, you mean nobody calling there?
No, you can't call on a show. Let me talking out like when we're no calling there. So all you can do is you will listen to the news, and they can also encourage you to buy the newspaper to listen to the news in details.
But do you do viewer recognition at times?
Oh yes, we do viewer recognition. When you are watching, we notify you, and sometimes we even appreciate you on a show, telling you thank you for always following us. We also encourage you to share the live stream, because the more you share the live stream, we transform and we transition ourselves as a broadcast team as well.
Wow. So when can I better get this program you are talking about?
This program is aired every Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. to 10:45. The program runs for 45 minutes.
Wow.
And guess what?
Wow.
We bring you hot stories of our trending situation within our country, Liberia. Imagine hearing stories from Hot Pepper newspaper, from the Daily Observer newspaper, from Front Page Africa. Are you a lover of Front Page Africa?
Oh yes, I'm a lover of
Front Page Africa, and the Women Voices, and a lot more. Not forgetting international news, BBC,
Wow.
CNN, ABC News. We bring you headlines from those standpoints.
Wow, that is very, very, very amazing.
So we say, join us every day on the Daily.
Welcome back to the daily edition of Inside the Print Media this morning. And of course, I am your presenter. My name is Gekfina College Park. So for Daily Observer newspaper, Waka Kun under scrutiny over recent trips. Waka Kun over scrutiny under recent trips. House summons Minister of State Finance to provide financial reports of the President and Vice President's recent travel amid charter private jet planes. Members of the House of Representatives have begun a process of seeking clarifications into recent trips out of the country by President Joseph Numa Boakai and Vice President Jeremiah Kwankun. Among other things, the lawmakers, through the exercise of their oversight responsibility, want to know who bore the financial burdens or travel expenses of the two statesmen, while also wishing to be abreast with outcomes of those travels. The executive mansions announced President Boakai's working visit to Ghana on February 13, 2024. The initial communication states that President Boakai will have met with Ghana President Akufo-Addo to discuss mutual interest and regional issues. Upon his return on the 14th, the official release mentioned a meeting with the Vice President of Ghana instead of the President, with no details on the discussed topics. The Ghanaian presidency official website did not mention President Boakai's visit, leading to confusion about the trip's outcomes and the lack of official communication. Prior to his departure, President Boakai told the legislature in a communication that his trip was meant to hold consultation with his friends and brother Nana Akufo-Addo, President of Ghana. True, the executive mansion did not shed much light on the president's trip. Reports have seen emerge that he traveled on a chartered private plane to Ghana. This is how far we have gone with the Daily Observer newspaper as it relates to Boakai Kun under scrutiny over recent trips. Another headline reads, Corrupt officials will pay the price. Corrupt officials will pay the price. JNB promised to be rigid against graft commission's first batch of the cabinet ministers' head of agencies. President Joseph Yuma Boakai has commissioned the first batch of the cabinet ministers and other officials recently confirmed by the Senate and urged them to avoid engaging in corruption or pay the price. Let it be known that we will not tolerate corruption and pilferage from the people's covers as those found to be in breach of our anti-draft laws will give accounts and pay the price. As they say, a hint to a wise is enough, he said. According to him, his government promised to abolish the business as usual approach to government. Therefore, ministers and advisors should refrain from engaging in corrupt acts. The cabinet, as the highest decision-making body of the executive branch of government, must perform a highest level delivering on the government's priorities to achieving the developmental agenda we have set for the next 6 years. We will expect ministers and heads of agency to demonstrate their capabilities and competence in achieving other goals, including the execution of immediate intervention in the 100-day deliverable plan. President Bouakai called on legislature to work collectively with his administration in order to improve the lives of Liberians. This is how we transition to the New Dawn newspaper, where we have our two top stories. Bouakai marks first month in office. Bouakai marks first month in office. President Joseph Juma Bouakai on Thursday, 22nd February 2024, completed his first month in office following his inauguration on 22nd January this year, but no sign of his 100-day promises yet. As to whether he will meet his deliverables, having gone 1 month before commissioning his cabinet and other officials of his administration on Thursday, February 22nd, remains to be seen. President Bouakai slowly formed his cabinet weeks after he was inaugurated, and there is hope that with their commissioning, he could begin to work on his 100-day promises. But whether he will fulfill them is another argument for another day. The commissioned officers are part of a setup of a team he relies on to achieve the 100-day deliverables that he promised to the Liberian people. The 26th Liberian president democratically succeeded former President George Weah following the 14 November 2023 presidential runoff election. Bouakai and his government have been criticized of how slow they have been in forming the government since the Unity Party was declared winner of others believe that this level of delay could affect the achievement of the 100 days deliverables. House demands clarity on Bouakai's travel. EFFL leader rejects jobs from Bouakai. EFFL leader rejects job from Bouakai. The leader of the Economic Freedom Fighters of Liberia, EFFL, Emmanuel Gongwa, rejects his appointment by President Joseph Yuma Bouakai as Deputy Labor Minister designate for Planning and Manpower, citing a commitment to party integrity and leadership principles. The EFFL is an alliance party of President Bouakai governing Unity Party that supported Mr. Bouakai's bid for presidency. But speaking to the New Dawn via a mobile phone, Commander-in-Chief Emmanuel Gongwa clarified that prior to his appointment by President as Deputy Labor Minister designate, he had a meeting with President Bouakai on Saturday, February 16, 2024, during which they agreed that EFFL's National Chairman Steve Koluba will be appointed as Minister of Labor, while Prince Sabona Jr. will be appointed as Deputy Director for Administration at the National Housing Authority. But CIC Gongwa says upon pursuing the list of appointees, he discovered his name has been listed for the Ministry of Labor, contrary to the agreement he had with President Bouazizi. I cannot accept an appointment that contradicts the agreement we made. Gonkwa firmly resists, adding that doing so will compromise his leadership ability and integrity. Expressing his commitment to party's principles and fairness, he reiterates that his dedication to upholding political discipline and ensuring the interests of the EFFL and the Liberian people remain paramount. He underscores his willingness to compromise on his political principles, emphasizing the importance of fairness and adherence to agreements. This is how we take a short break, folks. When we get back, we fill you in on the issues relating to our country, Liberia, and the world at large, from the front page Africa newspaper, concluding with the Hot Pepper newspaper. At this time, I encourage you to kindly share our live stream, or better still, make use of our comment section where we interact with our viewers. Coming up next will be my colleague here, Lyndon Topa, as he will be concluding with our news presentation here from the front page Africa newspaper to the Hot Pepper newspaper. Sorry. So kindly stay with me as I will be right back shortly. This is how we take a transition. Thank you.
Hello dear, my name is K. Lyndon Toba. I'm in search of a platform where I can get credible informations of our daily happenings in Liberia and the world at large.
Hello, Lyndon Topa. My name is Grefina Nkorishpa. Haven't you heard about Focal Online TV?
You say Focal Online TV?
Focal Online TV is located within a Tobo village community along the Japanese highway.
Tell me more about the platform.
This platform, called Focal Online TV Daily Edition of Inside the Print Media, does not encourage any form of dialogue between the viewers and the presenters.
Oh, you mean nobody calling there?
No, you can't call on a show. Let me talking out like when we're no calling there. So all you can do is you will listen to the news, and they can also encourage you to buy the newspaper to listen to the news in details.
But do you do viewer recognition at times?
Oh yes, we do viewer recognition. When you are watching, we notify you, and sometimes we even appreciate you on a show, telling you thank you for always following us. We also encourage you to share the live stream, because the more you share the live stream, we transform and we transition ourselves as a broadcast team as well.
Wow. So when can I better get this program you are talking about?
This program is aired every Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. to 10:45. The program runs for 45 minutes.
Wow.
And guess what?
Wow.
We bring you hot stories of our trending situation within our country, Liberia. Imagine hearing stories from Hot Pepper newspaper, from the Daily Observer newspaper, from Front Page Africa. Are you a lover of Front Page Africa?
Oh yes, I'm a lover of
Front Page Africa, and the Women Voices, and a lot more. Not forgetting international news, BBC,
wow.
CNN, ABC News. We bring you headlines from those standpoints.
Wow, that is very, very, very amazing.
So we say, join us every day on the daily edition of Inside the Print Media at 10 a.m. with the headlines of top stories in our country and the world at large on Focal Online TV.
Okay, folks, welcome again. You just listened to Corit with a very beautiful presentation. So she has turned the mantle of authority over to me. So let's go look at the Front Page Africa newspaper. Examining HPX 5 billion Liberty Rail Corridor. Economic promise of potential pitfall. The hold between the ArcelorMittal and the HPX over multi-user agreement over the railroad running from Nimba to the port of Buchanan began since 2022 and deepened further with ArcelorMittal, which is currently operates the rail, presented its mineral development agreement to the government for amendment. This agreement has been before the legislature since 2022. In September 2021, the government of Liberia and the ArcelorMittal reached an agreement to amend the Mineral Development Agreement, MDA. The agreement allows the company to expand its operations in Liberia and extend its iron ore mining concession for 25 years. The agreement, despite its promising 800 million investment, was rejected by the House in April 2022 and was sent back to the executive for renegotiation. Key among factors to be negotiated included renegotiating the operationals and multi-user right of the rail. This has since been the sticky issues impeding the passage of the agreement. This was because the Liberian government has sealed a framework agreement with the HPX, which is How Power Explorations, in the same 2022 for the usage of the rail to export iron ore from Guinea through the port of Buchanan. The signed, amended, and restated framework agreement with the HPX confirmed the Liberian government principles to HPX non-discriminatory access to Liberian road and port infrastructure and identifying HPX requirement for the future evacuations of ore from the Guinean Nimba Iron Ore Project. The framework agreement also set out a timetable for detailed negotiations and the implementation of a definitive concession and access agreement for HPS infrastructure requirements. As part of the agreement, HPL looked forward to having the right to extend the railroad facility from Yekepa to Guinea, Liberia border and have access to the Yekepa port of Buchanan Rail. HPS group companies Avaco Hold announced that the government of Liberia will grant HPS usage of the infrastructure corridors in accordance with its right and obligation is under its current mineral development agreement with ArcelorMittal and will seek the resolve with ArcelorMittal technical and commercial terms and conditions. HPS usage of the shared infrastructure in accordance with the mineral development agreement, but there has since been a glitch of reaching common ground on the operation and the use of the railroad. Within a few weeks after President Joseph Boakai was sworn in, here along with the Goman Group and the Liberian government announced a collaboration for the construction of a Liberty Rail Corridor, a brand new multi-user infrastructure corridor connecting Guinea and Liberia. The Liberty Corridor, according to an HPA release, could comprise a brand new world-class rail connecting the Guinea to a brand new deep water port at Dibad, Liberia, and an extension of existing hydropower network from Cote d'Ivoire into the Nimba districts of Liberia and Guinea, an upgrade of existing network into the Nimba district to overall weather roads, and the implementation of the fabric optic telecommunication cable connecting Liberia to Nimba districts and potentially beyond. Liberty Rail Corridors project has sparked both excitement and skepticism within the economic and political cycle. The project estimated at 5 billion while initially appearing as a boom for economic development. Several questions and concerns have emerged, casting doubt on its feasibility and potential repercussions. One of the primary concerns raised in the timing and motivation behind HPX lobbying effort against the ratification of the ArcelorMittal Terre Mineral Amendment. Critic questions whether HPX was aware of the feasibility of the Liberty Corridor and all along, or if this is a recent development. Furthermore, HPS shifting stance on the operatorship of the road and port facility raises doubt about the project's consistency and long-term viability. Economists have been particularly skeptical about the economic justification for such a massive infrastructure investment, with the iron ore deposits in Mount Nimba estimated at less than 900 million tons and significant environmental and logistical challenges associated with mining doubt aroused about the project's profitability. Additionally, the memorandum of understanding between Guinea and HPS imposes limitations to the volume of ore that can be mined and shipped annually, further complicating the economic viability of the venture. Of particular concern is the potential involvement of the Liberian government in financing the project. While details remain unclear, the language of the press released suggests that the possibility of the state participation raising fears of of debt allegations falling on the government. Historically, such infrastructure projects have often relied on state guarantees, leaving the government vulnerable to financial risks. Moreover, gaining reluctance to allow HPS to pledge amount as collateral for financings in Liberia underscores the complexities of cross-border investment in the region. With Guinea-owned infrastructure projects underway, the viability of the Liberty Corridor becomes even more uncertain. In light of these challenges, observer caution against rushing into the project without thorough analysis and transparency regarding its structures and potential risks. The involvement of private capital without burdening the state and the debt could alleviate some concern. However, until more details are revealed, the true implications of the Liberty Rail Corridor remain uncertain. Ultimately, the success of the project hinges on its economic viability and the ability of stakeholders to navigate the complex web of political, financial, and logistical challenges inherent in large-scale infrastructure development in the region. Without the Liberty Road Corridor could risk becoming yet another failed venture, leaving Liberia and its citizens to bear the consequence. With this being said, this is how we move over to another headline. Controversy breeds as President Bouaka reportedly prepares to replace NAFA Director General despite being signatory to giving her tenure. Controversy breeds as President Bouaka reportedly prepares to replace NAFA Director General despite being signatory to giving her tenure. In 2017, in his capacity as Vice President of Liberia and head of the Senate, President Bouaka, now President of Liberia, signed the act that amended the Title 23 of the National Resources Law. The action brought into being, under the amendment, the National Fishery and Aquaculture Authority, NAFA. The act prescribed that the entity could be headed by the Director General, who could be recommended to the President by the board for appointment with consent of the Senate. Section 3.4 of the Act lays out the function of the Director General and also clearly stated that Director General shall have 4 years, which may be renewed for one additional term of 4 years and no more. However, Front Page Africa has gathered that the current Director General Emma Glasgow, who is the second year of her second term, is at the verge of being booted out by the Unity Party government led by President Joseph Bouaka despite her remaining 2 years in her tenure. President Bouaka this week has made several nominations to already occupy tenure position, a move which has sparked debate over the UP-led government repeating the mistake made by the Weah-led administration during the early stage of their government. Some of the recent controversial nominations made by the presidents include nominating people to fill already occupied tenure positions at the Liberia Telecommunication Authority, National Identification Registry, the National Lottery Authority, the National Road Fund, the Environmental Protection Agency. These nominations have caught the attention of the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia, which has urged the president to rescind these nominations. Sentara expressed dismay over the action and stated that the president's action not only violates relevant law enacted by the legislature and interpreted by the Supreme Court, but also undermines the tenets of good governance which tenure seeks to promote and defend. Given to a good governance in the fight against corruption, it is great of importance that his actions are consistent with what he professes. Liberia cannot afford a continuation of disregard for the rule of law and the promotions of political interests at the expense of the hard-fought and growing democracy. Sentara said in a statement released on Tuesday, "We cannot continue to repeat the same mistake yesterday when they can clearly be avoided. If business must not be as usual, keen attention must be paid to the exercises of yesterday with an eye to averting recurrence," Santana said. Current among several recommendations called on President Bouacar immediately to record appointment to position occupied by persons with active tenure. Additionally, it called on him to constitute the membership of the National Environmental Policy Council of Liberia to allow for a recruitment process for the position of executive director to the Environmental Protection Agency consistent with Section 16 of the EPA Act. By appointing an acting executive director, Santa believes that the trend of interim appointment continues without any deliberate action to comply with the EPA Act. This could be business as usual and not a deviation from the ugly past, which the president has severally promised, the Integrity Watch said. The Southern protest against Glasgow. On Tuesday, NAFA workers, for the first time in 6 years, staged a protest against the Director General, claiming that she has been practicing bad labor practice. According to our reporters, the aggrieved workers gathered at the front of NAFA national headquarters on Bourgeois Island, holding placard inscribed with several grave allegations against Madame Glasgow. Addressing teams of reporters on Tuesday, February 2022-2024, chairperson of the group, Patrick T. Weezer, outlined these specific into two communications sent to Riverside County Senator Wellington Jevan Smith, who chaired the Committee on Agriculture and Fishery, and Representative Zena Norman, chair of the House Committee on Agriculture, Fishery, and Forestry. The aggrieved worker gathered at the front of NAFA's national headquarters on Bourgeois Island, holding placard inscribed with several grave allegations against Madame Glasgow. They accused NAFA boss of bad labor practices, inhumane treatment against staff, of illegal dismissals, forceful resignation, reduction of sea ongoing observer allowances which are paid by fishing companies in Liberia waters, and refusal to provide seagoing observer insurance after receiving payment from fishing company. Mr. Weezer also indicated that the institution has not increased salary for the past 6 years, including the management alleged deliberate refusals to provide a bus to commute workers from one point to another. According to him, NAFA management under the jurisdiction of Madame Glasgow has since been involved in massive corruption, conflict of interest, stressing that 3 Senegalese stream vessels, Amin Kambanan III and Sokonon, conducted experimental fishing over 2 years, but the proceeds of 10% are unaccounted for. In their communication expressed to the 55th legislature, the group spokesperson expressed belief that the fishery submitted to former President George Weah office for signature in 2021 was different from the I submitted to the 54th legislature in 2023, suggesting forgery and demanded an independent investigation. At the same time, the aggrieved record of NAFA called on the 55th legislature to prevail upon Madam Emma Glasgow to reinstate all illegally dismissed staff of grant employment status for all contractors who have been working for over 2 years now, and commission an impartial investigations and audit. With this being said, this is how we move over to the Hot Pepper newspaper. President Bouacar's commissions cabinet members, heads of agency. His Excellency President Joseph Newman Bouacar has commissioned members of his cabinet and head of agency with a caution for them to rise above the privilege and the trapping of their political rules and find fulfillment in the joy of genuinely transforming the country, as he desired to see them carry out responsibilities with the utmost professionalism and compassion. At the commissioning ceremony held at the Parade of the Executive Mansion on Thursday, February 22nd, 2024, President Bouacar underscored that the program was a combination of the process of setting up the government, having identified individuals to play roles in the governing of the country. Although he could have liked to have the full complement of all heads of ministry, agencies, and commissions to this event, we are nevertheless delighted to commission some of the country's experienced, dedicated women and men to start full service for the citizens, President Bouacar observed. When we officially took office, we informed the country that and the word that the business as usual approach to government could be a relic to the past of this administration, and we mean it. This is why we expect nothing less than the ministers, head of agency, and advisors to be commissioned today, and the orders to follow later, to execute the mandate of their respective offices and orders and perform their duties efficiently, selflessly for the public good. He noted the cabinet, he said, as the highest decision-making body of the government must perform at the highest level, delivering on the government priorities to achieve the development agenda set for the next 6 years. President Bouakat emphasized that he will expect ministers and head of agencies to demonstrate their capabilities and competencies in achieving the administration goals, including the execution of immediate intervention into the 100-day deliverable plan. As the government spans the three branches, we do not intend to pursue the government path without productive engagement with the other bodies. We therefore expect the legislature and the judiciary to do their part by fully working with us to improve the lives of our citizens. To ensure productivity, we work with others on a key project, the Performance Management Compliance System, to help improve performance and encourage an open, transparent, accountable government. Integral to this is the requirement that every cabinet minister and head of agency signs a performance contract as a way of not ensuring that the deliverables are met, also enhancing efficiency within the government cycle. With this being said, this is how we conclude on all of the news presentation for today. Many thanks to all of you who have been closely following this presentation. My name is K. Lyndon Toba. Previously, Grafina sat in the sea as a presenter and she concluded her presentation. So many thanks to all of you who have been watching our mailing listener. Yesterday we could not air the show because of a great technical issue. However, our technicians in studio have been able to address some of those concerns. About others concerns are still outstanding, and we pray that subsequently our producer or our technicians will be able to resolve them in a more positive fashion so that we can resume a more effective broadcast as usual. So my name is Ken Lyndon Toba, and this is the Focal Online TV. This is the only voice of the voice that this is the voice from the slum, and this is the speaking about innovation. This is the most independent voices in the media landscape of our country, Liberia. So many thanks to all of you who have been closely following this broadcast. This is how I choose to end this broadcast on today.